Welcome back to the fourth quarter of the Bobby Dupre Show. And the fourth quarter, we have to rush it just like the football games on Sunday afternoon, on Saturday night.
We got to squeak out the win just like Drew Brees does.
Yes. Ooh, that was...
Almost gave it away, but then he come back and almost won it.
Yep. And then they lost at 3 points. That's one of the few times you've ever seen that move.
Got to use that head.
But, you know, if he'd have made it, then he'd be Coach Payton would be the hero. It didn't end up hurting us, but it did temporarily.
I don't like taking the points off, number one. And number two, Ingram is not the right running back in that situation. It's not his strength.
He's not. Well, let's talk about something nice, because we don't get
Ingram has to run behind Alabama blockers that don't get flagged for holding. That's how he had a good career in college. He got to the pros, it's not as good.
Oh, they can't hold as much in the pros?
No, when Alabama plays, the referees, they swallow the whistle and they put the flag in the far back pocket. They don't even, that way they can't reach it. You see, they don't have to throw flags when Alabama plays.
Now wait a while. We're having fun. We're having fun. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get a couple more pictures.
Yeah, well, just a few left. We got the big tractor on top of the trailer in the truck.
Yep, we're taking it back to the warehouse.
Helped load it all up.
Yep,
and then,
thanks, Mac. Thanks, CJ, for the great job. And thank you, Pierre, for putting me on notice and helping out of getting CJ to come and give me a hand. And this is long time friends, Anita and James Longclaw. That was on Tuesday at noon. A better picture right there. There's too much light in the background, but you can't ask people to go and move and all of that, but they understand. And Anita came by and spoke with us, and James came over, and well, anyhow, Anita, you're doing a great job, and thanks for taking care of your husband, James, so well. And then Miss Joyce Fizette, who I've known for a long time, and her friend Craig Belfry. And all of this was at King's on Tuesday at noon. And then also, but I didn't get to take a picture, was Herbert Morton, and his son came in, Ty Morton, with his wife and young son. And I didn't get a picture of them. By golly, Bobby, you slipping. And did get a picture late yesterday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, of the new home being built by Mr. and Mrs. Byron Briggs. This is probably the third stage of the construction, and it's all closed in now, and it's going to be a beautiful addition to our little area.
And how about this coming up this week in the Washington Garden Club on Saturday night, September the 21st at 7 p.m. at the old historic St. John's Episcopal Church in Washington. We'll be having the former poet laureate of the state of Louisiana, Darrell Bork, who's a native son from here, lives here. He was the poet laureate for the state of Louisiana from 2007 through 2011. He'll be reading a bunch of history and stories and memories all about Louisiana and his French-Acadian ancestors. Go out, have a good time. There's going to be wine and cheese there as well from 6 to 6:45. The reading starts at 7, and I got to hit some sponsors.
Okay.
How about LHC Group, all your home health care needs? LHC Group can help you with the doctors, the therapists. They can help you with the nurses. They can get the equipment for you. That's the lift chairs, the special beds. They can get you the oxygen equipment, the button you can press to call for help. Hospice and palliative care as well. They've got the Health and Wellness Center here in town as well. Always involved with helping people. Always involved in charity type work. Locations throughout the United States, Louisiana Healthcare, all about helping people. And one more, Carl's Thrifty Way. When nausea hits, what would you like to use to try with nausea? You know you can't take a pill. And they got that other way to take care of nausea that's not the most comfortable thing. You know what I'm talking about. When you have nausea, the suppositories, yeah, that's not too comfortable. They've got some special creams that you can put on your wrist, make it nice and easy for you. Easy to fight the you know, when you're traveling or doing something, you can't always do whatever else you got to do to take the suppository. You can go and get creams from them. They can also compound multiple medicines for you to make it easy for you to take. If you read, the sheriff had a nice article about how you're not supposed to put all your pills in one bottle.
I have that. I cut that out to talk about it. I'm glad you saw it.
What it's about is they have to match the pills to the prescription, okay? They have to do that. So if you're taking them, you put multiple ones in one bottle, I'm gonna say it the rough way. That's how the drug dealers do it. They put all that in one bottle and they try to smuggle that somewhere. So the law states you got to have the right bottles and the right pills in the right bottle so that the police know it's a legitimate prescription. to make it easier for you to take those multiple things, don't jam them in one bottle. When you get your prescription at Carl's, ask them to compound it. You'll get everything in one bottle. Make it nice and neat. It'll be legal. It'll have the right labeling. Everything will be better for you. Carl's Thrifty Way can do all that for you.
And you know, long as you're local, you can probably, you know, talk your way in explanation.
Right.
And but when you're getting onto airplanes and you're getting into another state and another country, they look at it a little bit differently. You have to go through a lot of explanation. So don't go through all that trouble. Don't mix them together.
As my grandmother said when we went to Mexico, they said, "Are you from the United States?" She says, "No, I'm from Port Barry." They get you nervous when them little men ask you all them questions when you're going through security.
I've got something here, the 7 Mile Yard Sale. Every year, about twice a year, I guess, they have this 7 Mile Yard Sale from down on Highway, I think it's 93, and that's from Grand Coteau Sunset all the way to Orneville, 7 miles. And it's been very, very successful and very popular. And that's coming up on September the 28th. That is next Saturday, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday. And those of you that like to do the yard sales, that's a good one. What about the 13 dead in the
Navy Yard? They don't know what possessed the guy to do it. Will they ever find out? Who knows? But just a guy went off his rock. I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, and they went back and started showing all the different events that have happened like this. It's constant. It's into the teens, maybe high teens in the last 6-8 years. And
it's military. He was evidently working for a contractor.
Well, he was discharged, and I think he didn't like the way they discharged him. I think he got into off the base situation with a pistol or a rifle or something, and that brought up some questions, and then maybe he got into some other little scrape. Nothing major,
but a bunch of little things that weren't right.
Things that wasn't right, and it affected him more than it would affect the normal person. Right. He didn't take it too well, and that's kind of what they're blaming it on. But anyhow, for those parents that lost, and those husbands and wives that lost there, they interviewed a person. He had been married. He married when he was about 20, and he had been married 41 years to the wife. So he says, almost my whole life I was with her. We were inseparable, and then boom, this guy takes her life, you know. And he didn't know who he was shooting, and he didn't shoot just random. Got up on a high level,
on the balcony area,
some kind of way. He knew a lot about that facility and that building. For supposedly, I heard one TV announcer announce that this was possibly his first day on the job. So there could be others involved somehow or another, and maybe innocently.
Right.
What about boxing? Well, we had a real knockout to drag out fight. It was a very interesting fight. Floyd Mayweather versus Alvarez last Saturday night, pay-per-view. It cost me $75. It was worth every bit of it. There were 3 good fights prior to the fight. The fight went the distance, but Floyd Mayweather won every round but possibly won. Most of the outsiders judged it that way. Al Bernstein and all of those gave Alvarez 1 round. But one judge had it an even match. As a draw. And the other 2 had Mayweather winning, but not every round.
I didn't
not even close to every round.
I didn't get to watch it, but what I do is I get online, and people that write newspaper articles update their article. And I mean, it just kept going, you know, he won another round.
Another round. No, it was, and you and I had discussed it last week, sitting here prior to the program, and
it's not the first boxing match we both have seen.
No,
you and I know a lot
right.
about boxing we watched.
I said then that Mayweather had handpicked this fella. This fella, if you stand in front of him, he will knock you out. But Mayweather is nowhere that type of fighter. He is everywhere.
Stick and move.
He sticked him, and he moved, and he just, I mean, and he hit him some good hard punches. He gave that ball a butt whipping. And
not a young man, 23 maybe?
23. He's got a good future ahead of him.
Oh, he's a good fighter.
A good fighter. Didn't get hurt or nothing like that.
He just got the wrong guy, wrong matchup.
There was a big article
what they call him, Canelo. You know what that means, Canelo?
Canelo is what?
That's what they call him. His name is Canelo Alvarez, but
Yeah.
Canelo is cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
His hair is red.
Yeah.
So they call him cinnamon.
Okay.
That's
right.
why he's Canelo.
You something else.
I know when they call him
Okay.
Canelo, I had to say that can't be his real name. They got to be, and it's a nickname.
It's a nickname.
Yeah.
And concussions, you know.
They do that in boxing.
In boxing, but not as many in boxing as in football. Football is that head, it's just tough.
Over
it's a
and
tough
over
sport,
and over for 3
over.
hours and
Yeah.
practices, and you got to be watched. You know, my son, my youngest one now, goes through concussion testing before the school year. They set a baseline of all these tests so that during the year, if something should happen, he goes back to concussion testing, and they compare the results to see if there's any change. So they're very proactive now, even for the kids.
Now they're starting, a lot of schools that can afford it are having a full-time athletic trainer on staff to try to catch these type of situations when they occur in these young people. Boxing, of course, will be taking place in Oak Grove, Louisiana, and which is right on the borderline of Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana. But it's in Louisiana.
Right.
That's this Saturday night, and it's so strange. I was talking to Carol Gilbo, Carol Gilbo Tire Company, and he called about the upcoming boxing event that's going to take place October the 20th, High School Boxing Hall of Fame. Please, if you have any questions about it, call us. We'll get you some information to the date and the time. The tickets are, I think, $15, very, very reasonable. And he mentioned yesterday that they fought, Lafayette High fought in Oak Grove. They brought 14 boxers over there, high school boxers over there. 2 of them win. He was one of them. He said they had a good boxing team.
How about your T-shirt real fast? Because we're about to go off there. You got to find your prayer book.
I want to tell Tom and Madeline Daly hello. I apologize to Tom. He called me recently to go motorcycle riding, but don't put me on that do not call list. Put me on that call list, Tom. I'm looking forward to it. And also we want to tell Mr. Benny Neely. You remember last week we saw Mr. Benny, and I kidded him. I said, it's almost deer hunting season. You love to go to that camp. You like to smoke that big, long cigar. He says, but I'm not smoking. I said, well, put one in your mouth and act like you are.
Just to make a good picture.
For your picture, I want to show everybody that you up and healthy and back at work.
And Keith Hebert with the Yam City Triathlon that they do each year sent us each a nice T-shirt. Thank you, Keith, for that. And find your prayer book, because we're at the wire.
We're at the wire, and we've each week we ask you to consider attending the church of your choice. That's Andrew and I. And we close with a thought. Maybe you want to call it a prayer. Lord, help me always to do good. Let me be a blessing for my brothers and sisters. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for telling a friend. And thank you, Andrew, for assisting.